Cool. Are we awake? Are we alive? Kind of, maybe. All right, good morning, guys. So how many of you guys have heard the phrase, follow your dreams? All right, pretty much everybody. So whether it's, a parent or a teacher or some other family member, even on like movies or on TV, we've heard this phrase, follow your dreams. Everybody has, right? Why is it then, when virtually every single person has been told this at some point in their life, the vast majority of people don't follow their dreams? Why is that? You see, I think it's because society tells us exactly what kind of life we should be expected to live. And this starts out really early on in your all's ages, and even earlier. Like, for example, like, you guys are growing up, you're in school, and at some point somebody's like, hey, to be cool, you should dress like this, or act this certain way, you're not cool unless you have these friends, these interests. And then when we get older, when we transition, into adulthood, those normal expectations for our lives are still very much there, they just look a little bit different, right? So when you get older, it's like, okay, you should go to this college. Or when you get out, you should have this job. You should be in this kind of relationship, married, this many kids, make this kind of money. And the problem with following this kind of default way of living our lives is that, in my opinion, it inherently contradicts our unique DNA. See, we are not all the same. Like, literally, every person in this room right now, all of you guys, you're different. Everyone is different from each other. We have different strengths, weaknesses, personalities, and dreams. And so while initially, people tell us to follow our dreams, at some point along the line, growing up, whether it be your peers or family or just society as a whole, they come in and they crush those realities. They eventually convince you that your passion, the thing that you love, your dream, is too far-fetched, too unobtainable, or unrealistic. They say like, oh, are you sure you really want to go to school for that or pursue that career? Like, you realize you're never going to make money or be happy doing that. And that's just complete not true. But if you listen to that, if you listen to that kind of seed of that lie, you can flash forward your life 30 years. You'll stop, you'll look around, and you'll realize you're totally unsatisfied, unhappy with what you chose to do because you decided to not follow your dreams. So I've been told that this year's theme for IdeaFest is this phrase, make nice with your ideas. But for my presentation today, I want to add something to that, and that is make nice with your bad ideas. Rather than just accept the fact that your passion, the thing that you love, your dream, is a bad idea. What would happen with your life if you decided to make something nice, amazing, or productive with your quote-unquote bad idea, your bad dream? I'm here today to tell you guys that by following your dreams, by pursuing the thing you love, your passion, you can foster creativity first. You can also facilitate learning, and you can gain personal confidence that ultimately can move you closer to fulfillment and thus ultimately closer to success. So thank you guys for hearing me out today. My name is Max Moore, like Ron said. I am a music video director. So a little about myself. I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, and I still live in Louisville, but I direct music videos all over the country for bands in the alternative music genres. That being like punk, hardcore, pop punk, indie, rock, anything kind of in that like alternative realm. But rather than me just sit up here trying to describe the visual work I do, I thought it might be easier to just start off with a short little clip, highlight reel of some of my work. So we're going to start with that, but I've been asked to warn you that there's some mildly abrasive images, so don't get freaked out. but we're going to start with that. Well, cool. So I want to quickly rewind and to give you guys some context about myself and kind of the path that has shaped my career so far. So if you were to ask 16-year-old me, Max, who are you? I probably would have said, as, you know, without a doubt, no hesitation, oh, I play music. You see, music defined my adolescence. Growing up, my friends and I, we were always in several different bands. We would play music together. We would listen to music. We would tour the country playing shows. And music really defined us and gave us a purpose in our young adolescent lives. However, that wasn't always the perspective taken by my parents or people on the outside. See, a lot of the music that I played growing up was in specifically like the punk and hardcore music genres. And if you guys know anything about this kind of music, to somebody who isn't a fan, a lot of times it can kind of sound abrasive or strange. You know, often the songs are like fast or have aggressive tones, and like the lyrics are like screamed or like yelled over top, which can sound like totally foreign and backwards to somebody who's not familiar with it, right? This was the first major time in my life where I discovered other people belittling or downgrading a true passion I had. So, because the music I played wasn't traditional or normal, whatever that means, it somehow had to be a bad idea to pursue. The good news was that through the positive relationships formed within the music community, like me and my friends, that outside scoring, we didn't care about it, to be honest. And you know, that's a good thing. So despite the opposition, I carried on playing the music I love. So, by the way, you can tell these photos were taken a long time ago because my hair is significantly shorter. But yeah, so I'm going to change the slide. So no, I had this great love for music on this side. I simultaneously also had a passion and love for movies and making videos as well. I remember, like, even before I learned how to play an instrument, I would always grab my dad's VHS camera and make little stupid videos with my brothers. In fact, in middle school, my twin brother James and I painstakingly, shot by shot, recreated the first 20 minutes of The Lord of the Rings. This is like the ultimate blackmail you could ever have on me, and I'm really happy it's not on the internet. So again, I'm going to change the slide very quickly. But the point is, I love movies and I love music. So years later, when I was 20 years old, I decided I was going to transfer to a good old school called Western Kentucky University. And Western had just started, like Ron was talking earlier, a brand new film program at the time, and I was going to go study film. You know, for me, this was the second major time in my life where I discovered outside people putting me down for following what I wanted to do. You know, people say like, oh, hey, like you're transferring to Western, like that's awesome, like that's a really good school. What are you going to study? I'll be like, oh, I'm going to study film, like I think I want to be a director. And people would like stop for a second and kind of nod politely. But I knew what they were thinking. They were thinking, what the crap are you going to do with a film degree in Kentucky? And there's literally no way you're going to be a director. But despite the constant opposition and judgment, I carried on and again studied what I loved here at Western. Now, at this time, some of my friends who were still playing in bands and stuff that were getting more popular were like, oh, Max, yo, like now that you're in film school, you should just like direct a music video or something. I was like, I don't know. Like for me at this time, music video directing was not a goal, and it was totally not on my radar at all. But I agreed, and I directed my first music video while still here at school at Western. And you know, over time, things started to snowball. This band saw my work from another band. This record label asked me to suddenly do videos for their entire roster. And by the time I was ready to graduate, I was pretty seamlessly able to move from casually directing while in school to doing it full-time and starting a career out of school. So, like Ron said earlier, since then, I've directed over 150 music videos. I've had my work premiered on tons of places like MTV, VH1, Vice, Rolling Stone, and others. Collectively totaled over 35 million views online, and signed with one of the top director representation agencies based out of Los Angeles, California. The point is that despite at times heavy opposition against pursuing what I loved, music and filmmaking, despite that, I pushed through and I followed my dream. So, what does this mean for you guys? Like how can following your all's dream or the things that you love help you? Well, first, by following your passion, you can foster creativity. I think, you know, creativity is straight up one of the most important skill sets a person can have, not only in like, you know, starting a career or going to school or whatever, but also just like, generally speaking, navigating life. By its definition, creativity is the process of using your mind and your original ideas to create something new. And those are just words, but straight up, like hang with me. Think about that. With your mind, you can create something totally new. And that's amazing. Furthermore, creativity is most naturally fostered when it's within the context of something that you love, like your passion. Think about it. If you're investing time into something you legitimately love with all your heart, then it only makes sense that new ideas and positive creation will come out of that. Now, I want to be honest, like, that's only half the battle, right? Because creativity, it's not a passive action. You know, you can't just one day decide to, all right, I'm going to follow my dreams and expect a never-ending amount of endless, amazing ideas to flow out. Like, that's not a thing. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to actively search for creativity by setting up an environment for new ideas to grow. And I'll give you an example. So, on a weekly basis, if not more, I come up with music video treatments, which is basically a document I prepare It is my pitch to the record label, to the band or artist, and the management about what music video I want to make as a director. So sometimes I'll get the song and idea will come right to me. I'm like, oh, dude, this is perfect. This is what the video is going to be. And other times, I get the song and I'm sitting in my chair and I'm like, I do not know what I'm going to make. I have nothing. No inspiration. In those cases, one of my favorite things to do is to put the song on repeat and go for a walk through a specific park back in Louisville. You know, it's kind of a relaxing time for me to get away from the, whoa, what's going on here? It's kind of a relaxing time to get away from like all the constant barrage of like, think about autoplay Facebook videos, Twitter, Instagram feeds, news constantly. And it's really just a time for me to be with myself and my own thoughts, like in this really awesome environment. More times than not, if I set up the time to go through this process, this environment, walk this specific route through this park, by the time I get home, I usually have a kernel of an idea I can run with. So I encourage you guys, stop. Like, later today, when you have a spare moment, or like tonight, or whatever, stop. Like, what do you love? What do you love to do? Seek your passion. And when you find that thing, run towards it as fast as possible. Then set up an environment or a process that works for you for creativity to naturally be fostered. Because it's in these truthful and unique ideas, while surrounded by your passion, that will ultimately lead you closer to fulfillment and ultimately closer to success. So the second thing pursuing your passion can do for us is it can facilitate learning. So obviously, studying film here at Western, I learned a lot about filmmaking, right? Day one on campus compared to the day I left graduation, I had learned so much about film production, film theory, and I think that's kind of obvious, right? Like, you go to school and you learn a lot, right? The funny thing is, the day I graduated, I stupidly thought I knew exactly what directing was. I thought I knew exactly what it would take to make it as a director. In reality, though, I had no clue. Even though, yes, I had a degree, and I went to school and had all this knowledge, I still had so much to learn. The next 4 years of working hard and directing full-time, I was able to grow into a professional music video director. Some people say to themselves like, oh, I really want to go to the school and study this, but I'm not really that good in that subject, so I don't know. Or like, yeah, maybe one day I'd love to like start a business, but I'm just not good at like numbers, so I don't think it. Like that self-talk we all know is complete garbage. Everybody has a friend or themselves that speaks that kind of way to themselves. The thing is, every successful person in history has started out at that same bottom position. Every single successful person. The best part about it is, as long as you continue to seek your passion wholeheartedly, every day, you will never stop growing and you'll never stop learning. Not only like technically speaking, like for me, like learning technically within filmmaking or my career or whatever, but also growing most basically as just like a human being, becoming a better person. Which leads me to my third and final point. By pursuing your passion, you can gain confidence. So in today's day and age, instant gratification is this idea that is so deeply rooted into our society that we kind of don't even notice it anymore. Like, we want our food made faster, our coffee brewed quicker, our internet speed faster than anything else. And I think like everyone is guilty of this. Like, I personally freak out when like I'm on my phone, my email app doesn't load in like 0.25 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, everybody does that. But unlike a lot of other things in life, gaining confidence does not happen overnight. Beyond that, gaining confidence is not based on a singular event. I think we tend to measure success by singular events that we can visually see with our eyes. You know, I can see that you were really successful, like you lost a lot of weight. And you can see that. I can see that you traveled the world. But what about those smaller, insignificant parts of our daily lives that we don't necessarily see, or that don't warrant, you know, a picture on Instagram with hundreds of likes? Rather than one instant singular event, gaining confidence happens when a lot of small victories are added together over a period of time. This all starts by following your passion. By following with your life what you want to do, what you love, you will foster creativity. By being creative, you will then facilitate learning and grow within your craft and as a person. And by the time it takes you to get that far, you will have created hundreds and hundreds of small little marginal gains. Then one day, you wake up, you won't even be thinking about these like big, bold concepts like creativity and confidence. You're just going to wake up and you're saying, dang, I'm confident. Not because of one big singular event in your life, but because of the lengthy process of simply working hard and finding value in the day-to-day small marginal gains. So I wanted to end today with a quote that I saw. It was on Facebook or somewhere on the internet. It was flipping through, and I think it perfectly sums up my message for today. Tony Gaskin says this: if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help build theirs. Remember, by following your dreams, by figuring out what you want to do, what you love, by pursuing your passion, you can foster creativity, you can facilitate learning, and you can gain personal confidence. That all of that will collectively move you to a more fulfilling life, and then at the end, closer to success. Thank you, guys.